When a network goes dark, everyone looks at the screens. But as an incident commander, you need to be looking at the faces in the room. And with an increasing number of remote office participants that dial into a virtual web conference, reading the user's mental state is a lot harder when everyone has their cameras turned off. I therefore advocate to set clear rules when you run such a war room. Clarify its intent that it is in everyone's interest to just have their cameras turned on, basically to safeguard everyone's well-being, because you're entering together a very bumpy and potentially a very long-lasting marathon together. In a major incident, the biggest threat isn't the malware, it's the collective burnout of your team. If you don't manage the stress will start managing the incident, and usually right into the wall. So let's break down how to lead as an incident commander when the world is on fire. First, let's talk about the physiology of a breach. Stress isn't just feeling pressured. In a high-stakes cyber incident, your incident team will experience something that's known as an amygdala hijack. When the brain perceives a massive threat, like a complete ransomware encryption event, the prefrontal cortex, that's the part responsible for logic and complex problem solving, begins to shut down. As a result, even your smartest engineers start making rookie mistakes. As an IC, you're the external prefrontal cortex. Your calm tone and structured approach literally help dial back their biological stress response so that they can start thinking again. Next, let's talk about dissecting things into manageable pieces, also called the power of the micro mission. Complexity is the mother of panic. When a task feels too big to fail, it also feels too big to start. As an IC, you must start dissecting the incident into smaller modular components. So don't ask for things like, I need an update on recovery. Instead, ask for things like, what's the status of the offline backup validation? By breaking the mountain of chaos into a staircase of tasks, you give your team a series of achievable wins. Every completed micro mission releases a hit of dopamine, which counteracts cortisol and builds the confidence needed to tackle the next phase of the incident. So let's focus next on deadlines versus direction. In a crisis, executives will scream for a time to recovery. One of the first questions I always get during an incident is, how long is this going to take? The danger here is that if you overpromise things, you're putting yourself and possibly the teams you're working with under unnecessary stress, and not being able to deliver in time might negatively affect your credibility and trust. So the fix here is really to move from deadlines to communication cadences. Tell stakeholders, we aren't setting a hard clock yet, but I will give you an intermediate status every 2 hours, and we will have regular touch points 3 times a day. This removes the ticking clock pressure from the engineers, while keeping basically the leadership informed. Quality should ideally be the only metric that matters in recovery, because a fast recovery will basically still contain maybe a backdoor, which is basically just a second incident waiting to happen. Should you ever be overwritten as an incident commander, make sure to document your recommendations and the decisions taken by the leadership. Let's now move to another critical subject, which is the high cost of task switching. We often treat human attention like a browser's tab. Just click and you're there. But in technical forensics, task switching is a very expensive resource cost. Every time an engineer has to stop analyzing to answer a quick question in Slack, they lose their mental model. If you ever heard about the 40% rule, research shows that multitasking can drop productivity by up to 40%. As an incident commander, you must therefore act as a human firewall. Protect your technical leads from the noise in the rest of the company. If someone needs an update, they talk to you and not to the person that is basically deep down into analysis tasks. The last part I would like to discuss is strategic resourcing, aka the second shift. The most common mistake, running your A team for 20 hours straight. By hour 14, their effectiveness is basically zero. What you need is a resourcing roadmap. Think about internal rotation. Map out that shift B immediately. Even if your B team isn't as fast, they're probably faster than an A team that starts hallucinating from sleep deprivation. Also consider external burst capacity. Don't wait until your team is broken to call in for help. Bring in proactively third-party incident response firms or other specialized contractors early. The third aspect is the fresh eyes effect. Third parties just don't bring in more hands. They bring a lack of emotional attachment to the local infrastructure and company, which allows them to see patterns your tired internal team might no longer see. In conclusion, it is all about leading the people, not the tech. At the end of the day, a major incident is a human problem solved by human beings. If you protect their focus, manage their energy, and give them clear bite-sized goals, they will do the impossible and most often go above and beyond. Incident command is about being the thermostat, not the thermometer. Don't just reflect the heat of the room, set the temperature. If this video helped you basically rethink your IR strategy, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear how you handle the human side of things. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.